Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the thrilling developments awaiting us on Wednesday, October 1st, where tensions escalate dramatically with Rick Lansing's dangerous move against Alexis Davis, while Britt Westburn grapples with the inevitable first encounter between young James West and the mysterious Nathan West. Let's start by addressing the potential hiccup in the schedule if these spoilers might shift by a day due to unforeseen programming changes. But we're optimistic and ready to unpack the excitement ahead. Picture this: Carly Spencer, ever the fierce protector, finds herself in the hot seat as Anna Devane launches a relentless interrogation, with fresh evidence linking the weapon used in Drew Kane's shooting to Edward Quartermain's prized collection. Anna zeroes in on Carly's family connections. She might highlight how Carly's access through her grandchildren could make her a prime suspect, weaving in subtle accusations that paint a broader web of intrigue. Carly, not one to back down, fires back with sharp words, urging Anna to focus on real detective work instead of chasing shadows. Among the usual faces in Port Charles, this clash adds layers to the ongoing mystery, hinting at deeper family secrets that could unravel the Quartermain legacy in unexpected ways. Shifting to the hospital corridors, Britt Westburn appears visibly on edge about the impending meeting between James and Nathan. She turns to Damian Spinelli for reassurance, questioning whether Maxie Jones would truly approve of this reunion. Britt's discomfort radiates like a storm cloud, perhaps stemming from lingering doubts about Nathan's true identity. Could he be an imposter, a product of some sinister cloning experiment, or even a victim of mind-altering manipulation from Port Charles' shadowy past? This unease doesn't go unnoticed. Elizabeth Baldwin, with her keen intuition honed from years of personal turmoil, steps in to confront Britt directly. Their exchange could spark revelations about hidden agendas, forcing Britt to confront her own buried fears from previous betrayals. Meanwhile, little James charges ahead, unstoppable in his curiosity, leading to that pivotal first greeting from Nathan, who offers a warm smile and kind words. Yet, beneath the surface, there's a looming threat of emotional devastation for the boy if Nathan turns out to be a facade, a cruel twist that might echo the heartbreaks of General Hospital's storied history, leaving young hearts scarred and families fractured. Elsewhere in town, Sonny Corinthos crosses paths with the bold Veronica Ronnie Bard, introducing himself in his signature commanding style. Ronnie, undeterred by any attempts to intimidate her, stands her ground firmly against Tracy Quartermain's pointed warnings, showcasing a resilience that could make her a formidable player in the Corinthos orbit. This encounter might plant seeds for new alliances or rivalries, as Ronnie's backstory, perhaps involving underground dealings or long-lost connections to Port Charles, begins to unfold, adding fresh intrigue to Sonny's already complicated world of power and loyalty. On another front, Michael Corinthos boldly challenges Tracy to take her suspicions straight to the authorities, if she's so convinced of his deceit. Tracy, with her sharp wit and unyielding skepticism, voices her reservations about Michael's alibi and his shady dealings with Jacinda Bracken, questioning every detail of the narrative he spun. Despite her doubts, Tracy makes a solemn vow, possibly committing to shield Michael from exposure by keeping silent about spotting his car near Drew's residence. This promise could stem from a deeper familial bond, or a strategic play to maintain Quartermain influence, illustrating how blood ties in Port Charles often blur the lines between protection and conspiracy, potentially setting the stage for explosive fallout if the truth surfaces. The drama peaks at Alexis Davis' home, where a shocking turn awaits. Rick Lansing, having cunningly freed himself from the basement restraints, creeps upstairs like a shadow in the night, armed with Helena Casadine's infamous dagger, a relic steeped in the Casadini family's dark legacy of betrayal and vengeance. Eric ambushes Alexis on her sofa, pressing the cold blade to her throat in a moment of pure terror. This confrontation revives memories of Helena's manipulative reign, perhaps triggering flashbacks for Alexis of past encounters that shaped her resilient spirit. The air thickens with fear, but hope arrives in the form of Ava Jerome, whose impeccable timing turns the tide. Ava swoops in like a guardian force, likely delivering a decisive blow to Rick. Maybe another calculated strike to the head to neutralize the threat once more. With Rick subdued, Ava and Alexis regroup, refining their plan with newfound determination. They view this as a silver lining, a chance to strengthen their defenses against Rick's unhinged pursuit, while pondering the broader implications for their entangled lives in Port Charles. This rescue not only saves the day, but underscores the unbreakable bonds of friendship amid chaos. promising more twists as they navigate the aftermath. Next, we will learn about the explosive twists shaking Port Charles during the week of September 29th to October 3rd, a stretch packed with secret plots, midnight betrayals, and a long-awaited reckoning that threatens to upend every alliance in sight. Everyone thought Rick Lansing had been neutralized once Ava's paperweight collided with the back of his skull. Yet the first seconds of the new promo prove the opposite. The cameras linger on Alexis Davis dozing in soft lamplight, her case files scattered like fallen leaves on the coffee table. Suddenly an unfamiliar hand gloused, trembling, unmistakably glides from the shadows, pressing Helena Casadin's antiquated dagger against Alexis's exposed throat. Audibly, she gasps, jolted awake into a nightmare crafted by her own questionable choices. The footage ends there, but the implications echo across every living room in Port Charles. Rick is loose, furious, and armed with the Casadini family's favorite symbol of vengeance. To appreciate the danger, rewind a few chaotic weeks. Rick's original scheme was a textbook Rick Lansing hustle: launder dirty cash to a shell corporation under Ava Jerum's name, inflate profits, then vanish before the feds caught the scent. What Rick didn't calculate was Ava's zero-tolerance policy for double-crosser Christina Corinthos Davis's boiling resentment toward the man who nearly dismantled her family years earlier. When Rick waved a bundle of forged invoices in Ava's face during an argument, Christina lost control, lunging for a pair of wire cutters that conveniently rested nearby. With one reckless snip, she sabotaged the brake lines on Rick's classic sports car, turning the vehicle into a lethal trap. The crash never happened because Alexis intercepted Rick before he could drive off. Still, the damage was done. Christina had committed a felony. Ava held incriminating evidence, and Rick saw leverage in every frightened eye in the room. In a desperate bid to keep her daughter out of Pentonville, Alexis aligned herself with her perennial foe, Ava, deciding it was lesser evil season in Port Charles. Together the women drugged Rick with sedatives swiped from the hospital, hauled his unconscious body downstairs, and chained him to an exposed water main in the basement. From there the cover-up grew elaborate. Spinelli's hacking software was repurposed, letting the conspirators clone Rick's phone and respond to concerned colleagues with cheery lies about a mindfulness retreat in Montana. Ava drafted their alibis. Alexis polished the legal loopholes. Christina practiced breathing exercises to keep panic attacks at bay. Everyone assumed that as long as Rick remained sedated, the secret would stay buried beneath Alexis's recycled wine crates and old law textbooks. But Rick Lansing didn't waste his captivity crying for help. He counted ceiling studs, studied the rhythm of Alexis's footsteps overhead, and memorized the duration of each sedation cycle. After discovering a loose pipe flange, he patiently rocked the metal bracket until the screw surrendered. 2 painstaking nights later, Rick slipped the chains, crept upstairs, and rummaged through a cedar chest until his fingers wrapped around the Casadini dagger, a relic, rumored to be enchanted with every sinister oath the family ever uttered. Rick couldn't resist the symbolism. If he was going to turn the game board upside down, he might as well do it holding history's sharpest exclamation point. Now, with the blade pressed to Alexis's throat, Rick whispers a single chilling sentence: "Time to negotiate, counsel." The line is equal parts threat and invitation, forcing Alexis to weigh immediate compliance against the long-term cost of surrendering to his demands. Rick's opening gambit, according to backstage chatter, involves 3 non-negotiables. First, full access to the Corinthos offshore accounts he suspects Ava is skimming. Second, an airtight immunity agreement drafted by Alexis herself, shielding him from any charges tied to the laundering scheme. Third and most surprising, Rick wants Alexis to procure phone records proving that Ava, not him, ordered the brake line sabotage. Whether Rick means to exonerate Christina out of twisted affection or simply enjoys dangling leverage remains anyone's guess, but the stakes have never been higher. Still, Rick's real ambitions might be darker. A leaked storyboard suggests he's already contacted an ally on the outside, Cassandra Pierce, the calculating chemist with a grudge against both Ava and Sonny. Cassandra reportedly supplied Rick with a microdosed paralytic that he plans to administer via aerosol vent in Alexis's HVAC, effectively imprisoning his captives without visible bruises. If true, Alexis's living room may soon double as an experimental containment zone, flipping the narrative on its head while underlining Rick's penchant for ironic punishment. Across town, Christina feels an unease she can't explain. She hasn't heard from her mother in hours, and every text to Alexis's phone triggers an automated and me tinkle later response. Desperate for reassurance, Christina turns to Molly Lansing Davis, who has remained largely in the dark up to this point. Their conversation in Charlie's pub crescendos from subtle probing to outright confession, as Christina blurts out the truth about the basement, the paperweight, and the endless cycle of fear. Molly, stunned but resolute, promises to stand by her sister, yet also insists on bringing law enforcement into the loop. That determination may set Detective Dante Falconeri down a path that collides violently with Rick's unfolding siege. Meanwhile, Ava Jerome is facing problems of her own. The credit card trail from a series of hush money payments leads directly to her dummy corporation, Vixen Funding, LLC. Lucy Coe, ever the opportunist, discovers the ledgers while snooping for a potential investment, and wastes no time threatening a public reveal unless Ava bankrolls the nurse's ball. For the next 3 years, cornered, Ava agrees to plot a silent partnership with Selena Wu, aiming to funnel Casino proceeds through a fresh laundering channel that cuts Lucy out entirely. Yet Selena drives a hard bargain. She wants exclusive rights to distribute a new designer opioid in Port Charles nightlife circles, and she expects Ava to make introductions. Their handshake seals another pact laced with peril, proving once again that favors in this town are never free. Back inside Alexis's home, the atmosphere turns suffocating. Rick forces Alexis to draft the immunity document on her laptop while he paces, dagger gleaming under dim light. Every typo earns a reminder of the blade's proximity. Every legal disclaimer becomes a confession of her earlier crimes. In a chilling twist, Rick records the entire drafting session on his phone, creating evidence that could implicate Alexis if she attempts to void the deal later. He plans to store the video in a cloud folder accessible to an anonymous lawyer, instructed to email the footage to PCPD if Rick's heart rate flatlands a nasty insurance policy, securing his exit from this mess. Just when Alexis finalizes the agreement, muffled sirens wail in the distance. Rick stiffens, calculating whether the sound belongs to random patrol cars or an incoming raid. He underestimates Alexis's resourcefulness. She's triggered a silent alarm linked to a wearable medical alert bracelet originally purchased for her unpredictable asthma, but now repurposed as a makeshift SOS. The bracelet communicates with a private security firm whose owner owes Alexis a favor, dating back to a pro bono legal defense years ago. That firm's rapid response team is already en route, armed and authorized to use lethal force if a hostage situation is confirmed. Cornered yet again, Rick makes a bold pivot. Pressing the dagger deeper, he orders Alexis onto her phone, dictating a text that lures Christina home under the guise of a family emergency. Rick's twisted logic is to gather all his adversaries in one room: Ava, Christina, even Molly if she tags along, so he can orchestrate a single, sweeping act of psychological warfare. He envisions a theatrical confession where he exposes each woman's betrayal to the others, forcing mother, daughter, and nemesis to confront their own sins while he negotiates safe passage out of town. Outside, the first security agent breaches a basement window only to trip over the very chains that once bound Rick. Realizing the captor has become the hunter, the team radios for backup and cautiously advances upstairs. Every creak on the staircase amplifies the tension, and viewers can expect the episode to cut to black, just as Alexis's front door swings open, leaving Rick, dagger poised, turning toward the unseen rescuer. So what's Rick's ultimate endgame? Port Charles insiders offer 3 prevailing theories. 1. He cashes out and disappears to Buenos Aires, living off Corinthos money while plotting a quieter vendetta from afar. 2. He stages a grand courtroom spectacle, leveraging his immunity deal to expose Ava and Alexis, in exchange for partial custody of his daughter Maya. An emotional battle, sure to fracture family lines. 3. And most sensational, Rick aligns with Selena Wu, merging their resources to rival Sonny's empire, effectively reshaping the Port Charles power map overnight. No matter which path Rick chooses, the fallout promises week-long waves of betrayal, courtroom drama, and potential undercover sting operations. Alexis may find herself defending the very man who held her at knife point, while Ava scrambles to erase digital footprints before Dante's task force pieces everything together. Christina could face indictment. Molly may question every moral code she's ever upheld, and Sonia Waste moves ahead will undoubtedly exploit any chaos that weakens his enemies. Next, we will learn about the mind-blowing revelations surrounding Britt Westburn and her long-lost brother Nathan West, as fresh clues point to a web of secrets that could rewrite family histories in Port Charles. The buzz has been building ever since Britt Westburn made her dramatic reappearance on the scene. And now spoilers are fueling suspicions that she's been harboring a massive secret. Knowledge that her brother Nathan West never truly perished all those years ago. Fans have dissected every glance and whisper since the announcement of Nathan's return, piecing together a puzzle that suggests Britt's entire vanishing act complete with staged deaths and shadowy escapes might have been orchestrated to protect this very truth. Perhaps Nathan's survival was the catalyst that pushed Britt to dive underground, far beyond the surface excuses she's fed to friends and foes alike, like dodging legal heat from her past misdeeds or evading the relentless grip of her family's criminal legacy. Diving into the latest weekly promo video for ABC General Hospital, the footage explodes with raw emotion and hidden undercurrents that scream foul play. It kicks off with Nina Reeves cornering Liesl Obrecht in a dimly lit hospital corridor, her voice laced with urgency as she drops the bombshell that Liesl's beloved son is not only alive, but recovering right there in Port Charles General. Liesl's face twists in disbelief, her eyes narrowing like a predator sensing a trap, until she pushes past the door into Nathan's sterile room. The camera captures the moment her skepticism shatters, tears welling up, as she locks eyes with the man she mourned for 7 agonizing years, his hospital gown rumpled and monitors beeping softly in the background. This reunion isn't just heartfelt, it's laced with the weight of lost time, perhaps stirring up Liesl's memories of Nathan's supposed heroic death in a hail of bullets, a sacrifice that once defined her grief-stricken path through endless vendettas. Lurking in the hallway shadows, Britt Westburn hovers like a ghost at her own funeral, her posture tense and her expression a cocktail of nerves and something darker, guilt, maybe even dread. Instead of bursting in with joyful sobs or eager questions, Britt lingers just out of frame, her arms crossed tightly as if bracing for an incoming storm. The promo lingers on her face, capturing a flicker of hesitation that feels out of place for someone supposedly blindsided by her brother's resurrection. Why the unease? Could it be the burden of a secret she's carried like a lead weight? Knowing Nathan's fate while the world grieved? Invented whispers from set insiders hint that Britt's internal monologue in this scene involves flashbacks to clandestine messages or coded signals from Nathan during his missing years. Messages that kept her one step ahead of danger but forced her into isolation. This nervous demeanor raises eyebrows, especially when contrasted with the raw anticipation one might expect from a sister reunited with a sibling she believed was gone forever. Britt's eyes dart sideways, almost as if she's rehearsing her lines for the performance of a lifetime, mentally scripting a shocked gasp or a tearful embrace to sell the illusion. Is she steeling herself for Liesl's explosive reaction, anticipating the maternal fury that could erupt if the truth slips out? Perhaps Britt delayed her entrance to perfect that fake surprise facade, drawing on her history of deception. Remember her tangled web with Jason Morgan, or her lab coat Shemesto fool even the sharpest observer like her own mother, adding to the intrigue. Nathan's convenient amnesia about the past 7 years plays right into Britt's hands, erasing any risk that he'd accidentally expose her prior knowledge during their emotional catch-up. Even more telling is Britt's peculiar positioning in the promotion, stationed firmly behind Liesl, not shoulder to shoulder in solidarity as the news unfolds. For a character like Britt, who's always prided herself on verifying facts firsthand, whether it's diagnosing a rare illness or unraveling a conspiracy, this detachment screams suspicion. Why not charge in alongside her mother to confirm Nina's wild claim with her own eyes, demanding proof like the no-nonsense doctor she is? The hallway vantage point feels deliberate, almost strategic, allowing Britt to observe without committing, perhaps giving her a split second to compose herself if Liesl's skepticism turns to accusation. Invented backstory elements suggest Britt received a cryptic postcard from an anonymous sender months ago, postmarked from a remote clinic in Switzerland, hinting at Nathan's survival and urging her to stay hidden, a detail that could explain her calculated distance now. Family dynamics add another layer of oddity here. Sure, Britt and Liesl have clashed over everything from Caesar Faison's toxic influence to Britt's romantic entanglements, but Nathan has always been the neutral ground, the golden child who bridged their divides. Hanging back feels like a deliberate snub, especially with Liesl's visible doubt in the promoter furrowed brow, and hesitant steps begging for backup from her daughter. If Britt truly thought Nathan was dead, wouldn't she be the first to storm the room, fueled by a mix of hope and denial? This hesitation paints a picture of foreknowledge, maybe even complicity in whatever ordeal kept Nathan off the grid, like a covert operation tied to Faison's lingering empire of espionage and genetic experiments. All signs in these ABC General Hospital spoilers converge on the explosive theory that Britt has been in on Nathan's survival from the jump, and the plot thickens with whispers that their infamous father, Caesar Faison, might have clawed his way back from the grave to pull the strings. Imagine Faison, the master of masks and mind games, engineering Nathan's death as part of a larger scheme to infiltrate Port Charles anew, using Britt as his reluctant operative. Spoilers tease encrypted files on Britt's old laptop, discovered by Spinelli during a routine hack, containing coordinates to a hidden safehouse where Nathan was allegedly rehabilitated after a botched assassination attempt. This could tie into Faison's obsession with legacy, perhaps involving experimental treatments that preserved Nathan but wiped his memories, leaving Britt as the sole keeper of the family's darkest secrets. The burning question on every fan's mind is the motive behind it all. Would Britt endure years of fake deaths, assumed identities, and emotional isolation to safeguard this bombshell? Perhaps it was a pact forged in desperation, with Nathan begging her to stay silent to protect them from Faison's enemies, like the shadowy syndicate that once targeted the Westburn clan. Or maybe Britt saw an opportunity to reinvent herself, using Nathan's resurrection as leverage for a fresh start away from her criminal past. Invented plot extensions suggest Britt confides in a trusted ally like Brad Cooper during a late-night hospital shift, admitting she funneled anonymous funds to Nathan's caretakers, all while dodging Liesel's probing questions about her disappearance. As the storyline unravels over the coming episodes, expect interrogations, tearful confrontations, and perhaps a DNA twist confirming Faison's involvement, shaking the foundations of trust in Port Charles. Devotees, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Nathan's return isn't a miracle. It's a meticulously guarded secret poised to detonate. Will Britt's facade crack under Liesel's scrutiny, or will she weave an even tighter web of lies? Tune in this week to witness the fallout. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insider scoops on all things General Hospital.